So, good morning, YouTubers, and I hope you're having a great day. This is Steve Bradley coming to you from the God Loves People YouTube channel. And I want to talk to you today about Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 through 48. It's unlikely we'll get through the entire thing today, so expect a part 2. Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, verse 38, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth." And then he says, "But I say to you, do not resist an evil person. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. If anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, let him have your coat. Whoever forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him who asks of you, and do not turn away from him who wants to borrow from you." Now, this is a very important set of concepts. And the first thing I want to tell you is he's not talking about self-defense. All of these instances are very, very little in the greater scheme of things. So, for example, he says, if whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also. You can do that. And in doing that, you're not letting his emotions and his anger control you. The same thing is true of someone who wants to sue you and take your shirt, let him have your coat also. Just give up. Don't let his anger control you. Let him feel his own anger, but you don't respond to that anger. So the final one is, give to him who asks of you, and do not turn away from him who wants to borrow from you. So listen, when someone comes to you and says, "Here, gimme," maybe it's a Coke, maybe it's a cup of coffee, maybe it's an orange, maybe it's a banana. Give it to him. Don't resist him. Don't fight back. And this whole teaching is about being cooperative, about not refusing to do what you need to do to maintain the peace. Paul said later on in one of his letters, he said, as much as is within you, as much as lies within you, be at peace with all men. Don't be a fighter. Don't be someone who argues at the drop of a hat. Don't be someone who reacts. Just let it go. This is wonderful advice, because the hardest thing in the world is to figure out what people mean when they do stuff. And you find out pretty quick. If he slaps you on the right cheek, you turn to him the other. And then if he balls up a fist, then you defend yourself. But what you're trying to do is defuse a situation that's evil from a person who has anger in his heart and is full of evil at that moment. So when you're dealing with difficult people, be cooperative. Don't fight back. Don't argue with them. Just let it slide. This is great advice, because when you don't take that advice, what you do often is escalate the situation. So when Jesus says, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth," he's referring to a common Jewish custom that said, "I'm going to fight you." Now, you don't need to do that. What you need to do is relax and let it go. Be calm. This is especially important in families. How many times have you gotten into an argument because you didn't want to let the other person have his own way or her own way? How many times have you gotten into a huge fight over something that was little? And that's what these are. And that's what Jesus is saying. So listen to what he says and do what he says. He says, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth." And he says, "But I say to you, do not resist. Just let it go." It's a different thing if someone pulls a gun on you. Then you have to defend yourself. That's life-threatening. These things are not. They're just little things. There are things that you can usually diffuse by just letting things lie, by being a peaceable person. And that's what Jesus is counseling. He's saying, become a peaceable person. You can do it. God will help you, and God bless you. This is Steve Bradley, signing off from the God Loves People YouTube channel.